everybody. I'm now curious whether we should discuss chess or modern investing because the intro was definitely about chess, and I will be willing to talk chess anytime you wish. But let's try to talk about investing first, and for that, I would like to introduce Dr. Milan Sombarak. Welcome to the show, Milan. Can't hear you. Can't hear you, Milan. Sorry, sorry. I cannot hear you. Anyway, we have Jim Eid from Eid Foundation. Welcome to the show, James.
Can you hear me, Sasha?
Yes, I can hear you. And what about Rosie for first time joining us?
Hi. Nice to
Live.
meet you
I
all.
can
Hi.
hear you. How are you doing, Rosie?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for inviting me to your program.
Well,
Can you hear me now?
yes,
You're good now, Mala.
yes, Milan. Excellent. Rosie, I'm looking forward to see you very soon in Collingwood.
Yes.
Chess
Your
tournament.
beautiful wife. I hope you're bringing your beautiful wife.
Yes, yes. If I can bring her in one piece after this ordeal in Canadian closed, which she just completed yesterday.
Oh.
Believe it or not, that tournament site was not accessible. So for her, after her injuries, it was a great challenge to walk several steps to the second floor and to walk stairs to the toilet. And it's an ordeal, but she completed it yesterday. She scored 50%. Not a great deal for her, but under these circumstances. Now, the another horrible thing about just chess tournaments, or I'll finish in a minute and a half. The horrible thing was that the rounds were at 10 and 4, which is fine, but except if she finished her game, let's say at 1 o'clock, there is a 3 hours gap that she not only that she cannot lie and rest, there was even no seats that she could sit for a while, and for 15
Right.
minutes. There are no spectators were even allowed to the tournament site. Supposedly, explanation was to avoid cheating. But how you can cheat in this kind of by all standards, it's kind of a minor tournament if you consider the prize fund. That's
Right.
what kind of cheating you are talking about.
Yeah.
It's insane, to tell us the truth. And I was thinking about that the tournament side, the ideal tournament side, of course, is hotel. When you are in hotel and you are staying there and you're playing there is accessibility issue resolved. And yes, it's more expensive, of course, than to rent some kind of space in the middle of nowhere onto kind of the end of it's East End, something like what is happening. I'll write on Chess Talk a little bit about this tournament. Anyway, let's come to investments. To tell the truth, I'm puzzled really what we can do about investments when it's all in the hands of one person. The name of the person is, by the way, Donald J. Trump or something. And it's all in the whims of one person. He wants to play in the morning. He wants to market to drop down several thousand points. Okay, he'll say that he will make the stars. A few days later, he will say, okay, no, don't worry. It's going to be only 10% across the board. Well, with China, it's 145%. Now he says, no, it's going to be only 40%. And 145, it's too high. It's 40% and everybody will be happy so on. I never seen anything. I cannot believe that any country would allow its leader single-handedly play with the lives of millions of people and their savings. If Canadian Prime Minister would say that, okay, we're going to put tariffs everybody across the board, 45%, 75% or so on. In 45 seconds, he would be out.
I think it would happen in South Korea. The ruler there declared martial law and they kicked him out.
Out he goes.
The interesting thing, the encouraging thing is an increasingly large number of Republicans, former Trump friends who are no longer with him, who oppose him. And so no American president has ever been impeached out of office. Nixon probably would have been impeached out of office.
Yeah, but he resigned.
He resigned. But in order to impeach a president out of office, you need the
I know.
uh, Senate to 2/3 of Senate to agree with it, and if that happens, he will be impeached immediately, out of office immediately. And
We're not there yet. Maybe after midterm election, maybe it will be.
I don't think that's going to solve the problem, because even if he's impeached, there's still Vance, and then there's still the House Speaker that'll be in power. And they're going to do the same thing. They're under the same umbrella, and they may not be as unpredictable as Trump, but their whole philosophy is the same. And it's scary. It's very scary, because you don't know what to do with investments. I have actually taken my money. I'm not buying any stocks right now. I'm really afraid of doing anything. I just want to keep it in cash. I've already lost a lot of money. Milan's still in the market. And I mean, that's his choice, but it's really hard to know what to do. I'm trying to get away from the unpredictability. I'm waiting for things to stabilize before I feel good about doing that. But I don't know. I may be losing out.
Yeah, I never thought I would live in a country where the prospect of J.D. Vance taking over would be looked at as a positive.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he's a piece of work.
Oh my goodness!
I'll tell you something what I've tried in the last few days. Remember, I'm always in the market to sell calls and puts and options and so on. But recently, I've changed something. I've started to actually purchase puts and calls. Of course, it's could be bought only for a very short period of time. You cannot hold it. So let's say I bought 2 days ago calls on Palantir and S&P 500, and in the morning I've liquidated these positions with very good profit. And maybe that's a way how to play the market. Of course, your loss is limited. On the average, if you do that for a long period of time, you would be a loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the buyers of options are always losing to sellers. But in this particular situation, where the durations are incredible in both ways, up and down, and I think maybe the market makers haven't accounted for this volatility, and therefore the premiums for buyers somewhat affordable, but it's not going to last for a long time. So I wouldn't recommend that doing that. It's really depends on many factors. What is the strike price? What is the expiration date? There are so many things involved, and it's still a gamble. It's to tell the truth, it's not investing.
Yeah.
If you're talking about even modern investing, it's not.
Sasha, the first stock market was founded in Amsterdam about a little
Yes,
over 400 years
absolutely
ago.
right. You're absolutely
And
right.
every market drop has returned to its previous levels and continued to rise without exceptions. Now, as I mentioned previously, it took more than 25 years, about 25 years after the market tanked in 1929, but every decline has returned to its former levels and continued to rise. And that's going to happen this time as well. The market is enormously overpriced right now. It has nowhere to go but down, and that'll happen in the long run. In the short run, you can write cover calls
Milan, I'm afraid that writing cover calls is not a remedy at this point.
Yeah.
You will lose on your core investment much more, way more than you will collect the premium. So, and also your examples, they're lacking one thing. All these market corrections and then getting out of the correction and starting a new bull market, it was a time when there was no Donald Trump. Now that's a big difference right now. The Trump effect hasn't even started yet. It's just
Yeah.
out, and he's completely unopposed, and he can do anything what he wants. He wants to do 40% tariff against China. Okay, 145%. It's okay. He has lineup of latest I heard 90 countries willing to come to Mar-a-Lago, kiss his ass, and make some deals. But so far, already 30 days passed by of 90. No deal has been signed yet. Not even one. Not 70 or 90. Not one deal has been done. So what that means, doesn't bode very well for the market. And maybe Rosie is right just to take money off the market, at least for time
So I'm
being.
with Rosie. I'm totally paralyzed and don't know what to do because of Trump is totally unpredictable, and the effects that he has on markets, the wild swings we've seen already. I don't see them, all of a sudden leveling off and going back to the way that we're used to dealing with the market. We're used to just sanity being part of the market.
Mhm. Exactly.
And, we have an insane policymaker now. The policies themselves are insane rather than the policymaker. I misspoke there. But the policy,
Psychopathic narcissist is how they describe him, and it's very scary because you cannot control someone like that.
that's right. And also, we talk about him, but also his, it didn't really matter in our country, in the United States, whether it was a Republican or Democratic president, because they hired professionals around them to do the jobs.
Yeah.
And Trump has hired amateurs, and we see this in the Defense Department. There's a big article in the New York Times today about the Defense Department being in an uproar, screaming matches in his office. Things get going on because he's leaking memos, and he's trying to do things that the longtime senior officials that have been there and know what they're doing are leaving. They're quitting, and they're being replaced by people who don't know anything but the top-down kind of message that they want. But they don't know how to implement it. They don't have any idea how this stuff works. So,
Jim, how do you inspire any confidence in the market when one day he's firing Jerome Powell, the second day he says no, he's not firing Jerome Powell? Yeah. What kind of a circus is that? It's a horrible situation for.
And under the last administration, we were talking about one of the safe places to put your money was the U.S. dollar. Can we say that today? Absolutely not.
No.
Well, Warren Buffett would not agree with you, James. Warren Buffett still today thinks that the American market is the market to be in, and the U.S. dollar is the currency to be in.
Have you asked him that this month?
I went to ChatGPT yesterday, this morning, and asked about Warren Buffett's position on the market. And that's what was stated.
All right.
What people are involved in has a lot to do with the outcomes. Tesla, for instance, when it got into the S&P 500 a few years ago, it was the largest company ever to get into the S&P 500. As of today, Tesla profits dropped 71%. 71% profit drop. Not because there's anything wrong with the car, but there's a lot wrong with the guy behind it. So that's what's happening.
Well, the Cybertrucks have been a big, huge fiasco. Yeah. So that there are something wrong with the cars, not necessarily the ones that were built years ago, but this Cybertruck has been in the news every day about how bad it is. And so I agree. Musk is a big problem.
Well, the company is suffering because of Musk.
Yes.
The man at the top. And the country, United States, is suffering because of the man at the top. How can any other country enter a deal with the United States and trust that the outcome will be kept? The deal.
That's the thing. Countries have lost trust in the United States.
They have lost trust, and that is with the problem with the United States. The people in the United States is they've lost trust in their government. So 1/3 of them don't vote. So we get stuck with somebody who's. He sells himself as a populist, but he He was born on third base and thought he hit a triple. The guy is nuts in terms of his self worth, what he thinks he is compared to what he actually is. You know, and he thinks he's the king of debt. Well, it's because he keeps going into debt to get out of the debt that he got into before. You know, that's not a way to run a railroad, let alone a country.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, what do you want if American elected person who had 4 bankruptcies, he lost as much money? There is no person in the world who would lose as much money as Donald Trump did throughout his life.
Losing money while running a casino. So it's impossible.
Which is hard to do.
I think that was a money laundering business anyway. I don't think I have a feeling that he took all the money out and it was meant to be that way. So
Yeah,
I can't say for sure, but that's my feeling.
I read a lot about this bankruptcies. You remember, Jim? You must remember the David K. Johnson. Remember, he was many times on Pod TV,
Yes,
and he was explaining. He wrote a couple of books about
yes,
Trump.
he's very
And
good author.
he's an accountant, and he's explaining it is impossible to bankrupt cash. How you say it? Cash positive business. You see, what happened is a lot of businesses going under because customers didn't pay their debts and so on.
A lack of cash.
Here you have money coming in first before you spend. Somebody offers, let's say, buying hotel room, so you get paid for the hotel room right away. It's not that you rented 1,000 rooms and all of a sudden all people declared bankruptcy and didn't pay you. No, they're all paying you a few $100, $1,000.
Yeah.
Machines, you put in slots money right away before you spin the wheel.
And you know the percentage of the payout.
Business. It's very difficult to bankrupt cash positive business. You have to be a financial genius to bankrupt cash positive business. It's just insane. But listen, you put in charge a person who was twice impeached, several bankruptcies. And so what you hope for that he will somehow perform like never before, like he will fix all his problems? No, that's not going to happen. So now it's a payback time, babies. Pay for it. So you choose Trump, you voted for him. Oh, so now you are going to declare bankruptcy, not Trump.
But not just them, everybody in the States is going to have some sort of effect from all of this.
Oh,
it's going to hit everybody, which is really
inflation is just, it's just going to continue.
And Canada, it's going to hit Canada. We're going to go into a recession.
We're going to export inflation to the rest of the world.
That's right.
And
it's
recession
very
is
scary.
They've been telling me recession was around the corner for 5 years, and this is the first time I've seen any evidence of it. There's no question in my mind that we're not coming into a recession. We're in it right now. The reports will tell us later on that we entered it.
Milan, I would like to
we've been in it this year.
Argue your point that market always recovered and US dollar will always be the store of value or so on. My problem with this concept is that right now, all the rest of the world, there are some messages that they are slowly uniting against.
Why wouldn't they?
China is working very hard. All BRIC countries are working very hard to dethrone US dollar. And if that happened and the dollar will lose its reserve currency status, that all US debt of close to $37 trillion will make all countries, not just Trump, but all country could be a bankrupt. And your strategy is that the American market will always recover, even if it will take 25 years, which for both of us is an acceptable proposition. But even so, okay, you'll say that your estate will outlive you and therefore will benefit from turning things around. I'm afraid that this time is different from what was before. I think U.S. is in decline, and Trump accelerated that decline 10,000 times. That's
How will the American dollar lose its reserve currency status?
It's
How
not
will
backed
it?
by gold, Milan. And gold seems to be going up, but it's not backed by gold. And I think that the
Diane?
Chinese and Iran are making a deal to for their money to become the prime um, money of the world. So I don't know. I think the U.S. is going to lose out on that aspect because it doesn't trust anything. Nobody trusts it. So
See, the thing is that this month alone, the US has to refinance $9 trillion.
yeah,
And with the dollar going down and there are no
Who's going to buy it?
takers, yeah, exactly. The problem is, remember what happened a couple of weeks ago? They opened on, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Wednesday. There was a refinancing of 10 years old bills, and they jacked up interest rate 3 times in the morning at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, at 11. There was no auction, there was no takers.
yeah,
So who
And
is
this
who
is
going
after
to buy it?
we've had this debt problem for so long, and we keep issuing bonds, we keep issuing this, and there are buyers lining up.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's
not
been no trouble selling,
you.
and
The
now all of a
biggest,
sudden it's almost impossible to get buyers
the
at
two
the interest rates we want.
biggest, the two traditionally biggest buyers, Japan and China, they are unloading $30 billion every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I
Both
heard that.
Japan and
Yeah,
China.
that's why I don't understand Buffett's claim that it's still safe to be in the U.S. dollar. It doesn't seem safe to
Listen,
me.
he's almost 100 years old. Give him a
Oh,
break. See, he can believe and say anything what he wants, but it's not going to help us. Okay, his
yeah.
estate will do very well with the
And
trillion
the
dollar.
only way we're going to be able to we're going to keep issuing debt. The national debt is continue to grow, and the only response if there aren't buyers is we'll continue to print money.
See, Jim, but
There's
here is
inflation
the
there.
problem.
Yeah,
Trump wants Powell to lower interest rates.
Right.
But to sell this US debt, you have to keep high interest
That's
rates.
yeah,
right.
No
that's
one.
right.
How you can get
Doesn't it seem like he doesn't understand what he's talking about? I
No, he
mean,
doesn't. And there's nobody there to advise him.
no.
he won't listen to anyone who has the ability to.
That's
Exactly.
true. Yeah.
Exactly. He wouldn't listen to anybody. He will, or even if he listens, he will at the end of the day do whatever he wants to do, and
Yeah.
He still
nobody.
he still thinks he knows best.
Remember,
Yeah.
somebody asked Trump how he comes up with ideas to lower interest, high interest, this tariffs, or so on. How you do it? He said by instincts.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how you run a
Where he
country
is.
with by
Yes, by
instincts.
instincts.
Everybody
Oh, I
has
could do
them.
that. I could really do that well. I have good instincts.
Yeah, yeah.
How
Well,
did
the thing is, sorry, Milan, go ahead, please.
how did the United States get its reserve currency status? I think that happened in the Bretton Woods Agreement shortly after the Second World War.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now
All
how?
these agreements now null and void. There are no agreements today in this world. There are no agreements. The World Trade Association, the United Nations, all this is gone. It's done. There are rule. Well, look at Russia. Russia invaded Ukraine, independent country.
Yeah.
Anything by anybody could be done to stop it? No. So they are doing that. So Trump learned from Putin that he can now invade Greenland, take over Canada, and do other wonderful things. Or so on. There is no rules in this world.
Mm.
Okay,
So
that's
do
very
you
well.
Gulf of America.
do we have to wait then for Trump to be out of office because he's served his 8 years, and he's going to make every effort to stay in power?
Well,
True.
the thing is, the Republicans in the Congress, if they can wake up a little bit and find out they're losing money every day,
And
then
their constituents.
their money's going to be worth nothing. And I think that's probably going to be the ultimate conclusion is that they go against him and they actually work as a team and make him settle down and figure out what he has to do or impeach him, one or the other. because I don't know if we can figure out what he's doing.
Well, if he loses office because he is impeached, and that, by the way, has never happened,
Yeah.
but unless it happens with him, who's going to succeed him? The vice president.
I know, but if you have the GOPs get together and they become a team and they realize that something has to be done, they could work as a team. I
Well,
just
one
think
of the
they're
things
all
that's
so
kept the
afraid of
country
it.
together for a
Yeah.
long time is the balance of power between the
Yeah.
executive office, Congress, and the judicial system.
Exactly.
Trump is thumbing his nose at that.
I know.
And so what you're talking about, Rosie, I agree with 100%. Congress has got to grow a spine.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know what they're afraid of. I just
they
seem
are
to.
afraid of being primaried. And that was the fear the last time. That was what was so scary about opposing Trump for many of these Republicans, is
Right.
because he did back primaries against them, and he did win a couple. He lost more than he won, but it scared a lot of Republicans. They
Yeah.
thought that they could win the general election, and but that they were going in the primaries, that they would be with a Trump supporter candidate, and they were afraid that that candidate would beat them before the general election.
Roy,
So, there was that fear. And there's also fear in the country itself. People feel like, I grew up, the 60s and 70s, and there was promise, every generation was getting better. Their lives were
Right.
getting better. And that's stopped now. And people today, the younger generation doesn't feel like the future is going to be brighter.
Yeah.
They don't believe that. They don't trust the government. And so we have a lot of apathy towards the government, towards voting, towards those types of things. Obviously the older citizens have always been more consistently voters, but what's going on now is that people also have a chip on their shoulder. They think, I had a right to a good life, and
Yeah.
I didn't get it, so I'm mad. And
Yeah.
who gives voice to that anger? Trump.
Yeah. That's
So
right.
he appeals
Well, he's
to
a good
lot of
speaker.
people.
I'll give him that. He's a very good speaker. He's very
He appeals
convincing.
to people who have a grudge.
Yeah.
And he fires up their hate and anger. This is not healthy for the country. It's not healthy for an individual. And he does this very well, as you say.
Mm-hmm.
And so these crowds are very enthusiastic because they're mad.
Yeah.
And they don't know who to take it out on.
Why
says he'll do it for them.
But
Yeah.
Jim, why Americans are mad right now? Because Democrats lost elections, they're out of power. Trump has the presidency, the Senate, the House, the judiciary, everything now in their power. Nobody can oppose him. So what makes the American people who voted for Trump so angry still? What do they need right now?
Well,
I
they
wish
need
I
some
could
good
answer for the
Democratic
whole movie.
speakers.
Pardon me?
They need some good Democratic speakers or someone.
No. Forget about Democrats. Democrats have been voted out of power. They're nowhere. They're hiding. They're doing Uber deliveries. Whatever. They're nowhere. They're no.
Well,
Right now.
OAC. Yeah, there's a couple that are doing something. But what did you mean?
No. I'm not talking about Democrats. Forget about. They're all being buried. So now it's Republicans. They have the presidency, the speakership, the House, the Senate, the judiciary. They have everything. So what makes them so angry now?
They're angry that their lives didn't work out better, and they're happy that Trump is being a bully towards the rest of the world.
So they're still angry for the Biden's time? That's what makes them
They're angry about how their lives unfolded. They were promised wealth and 2 cars in every garage and all that sort of stuff, and they turned out that their lives didn't go according to plan.
Because of the Democrats, right? But now they have Republicans, and they have all powers what exist in the United States. They got everything. So
and they're happy now. Briefly, they're happy now.
They're losing all their savings, and they're still very happy.
They want Trump to be a bully, and he is a bully, and they're happy with him.
Okay.
We'll wait until the midterms, and they'll start to wake up. Hey, all the prices are more expensive. But Mark, you came on. You had a comment? Mark, do you have a comment? Oh, he froze.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there
yeah.
Yes, Mark.
Yeah. I'm saying that a lot of them are upset now because they didn't get earlier because they thought that they were going to get something when Trump came into office, and now they go to the stores and they see the gas prices that are high. They see the egg prices that are high. In the case of like the farmers, they see that they are not getting the benefits because he said he's going to make America great and he's going to have all of these things come back. But it's not easy to build a factory. You got to have the resources to build the factory. So I think that a lot of people had Jim, you might agree with me, you might disagree with me, but kind of a Shangri-La attitude that it was going to happen overnight and automatically. And we know that that is not the case and everything. So I think that that's where people are upset that are in part of the MAGA crowd, is that they thought that they were going to get it automatically. And ironically, this happened before. And I'm going to point to this notion of Obama. When Obama came in, a lot of people thought that Obama was automatically going to be able to do things automatically, not realizing that there is a
race relation
system and everything like that. So that is what upset people both in the Obama camp in the past and the Trump camp now, is that they thought that they were going to get these changes automatically. That is not the case.
And that's right, Mark. I do agree with you. And I also think that like soybean farmers were profitable. And with Trump's tariffs now, China is buying soybeans from Brazil or someplace else. And the soybean farmer is going, hey, wait a minute, I voted for Trump. What's happening? So all of these things are hitting them there. And I think by the midterms, certainly, the evidence will be indisputable that their lives are worse off. And the customers that they had, they no longer have. The prices that they thought were high have gotten higher. People are going to be more upset as the further along we go into this insanity of policy in this
midterm elections are still about a year and a half away. But in 7 days, there are 100 days of Trump being in power. So what is he going to present his voters, what he's achieved in 100 days, both domestically, internationally, except the border? Okay, so he improved situation on the border. Done. What else? Anything? Rosie, you have some ideas?
Well, I think that he is going to profess that he has done a lot, and I think
Like what? Give me one
like
thing.
he's thinking that the trade war now is going to be a good thing.
It cost American trillions of dollars so far, and there is not even a single cent.
No, you're being logical, Sasha. The logic has nothing to do with this.
It's got nothing to do with it. He can smoosh all of them. He can say whatever he wants, and people will believe him. That my whole system is that most Americans are very rule of law people. I think they're very upright. I think that a lot of them, no matter what happens, they believe in the law and they believe in legislation. His sending those people to San Salvador, people are very upset about that because they didn't have any kind of justice for them.
Due process. Where was the due process?
That's an American thing. Number one is an American thing, is that you're innocent until proven guilty. And he didn't prove anybody guilty. And that may be the bad thing that's going to happen, is people are going to get upset about that. But he hasn't done anything good for the country.
Now, 1/3 of the population that was eligible did not vote. Most of the time, people don't vote because they're okay with the way things are. Why did 30%? The last election, Trump got about 30% of the voters, more or less. Kamala Harris got about 30% also, a third. And 1/3 did not vote. And I think they did not vote because they were more or less satisfied with the way things are.
People vote, if they're satisfied, they vote for the candidate in charge, the administration in place. If they don't vote, they're apathetic, or they think their vote does not matter, which in California, many Republicans think their votes don't matter because we're a heavily blue state. So, it's very hard to get people to the polls if they think that whatever they vote, if they vote, it's just not going to change anything. And that's not the way I was brought up. That's not the way when I started voting that I believed. And people were always telling me that my vote counted. And now that's fallen on deaf ears. When people say your vote counts, people have tuned that out.
Yeah.
So we have a large majority of younger people who don't believe their vote matters. And now I think what they're seeing is that, yes, your vote does matter. If you don't go out there, it's like if you don't do something good, evil has a chance. So it's like, do good, man. Come on. and
Well,
vote
that's
and
right.
make your voice heard. And people don't believe that it will be, but I mean, it was a narrow victory for Trump. If if 1/4 of that 130 showed up and
Mhm.
voted, then we would have a different administration now.
Yeah, it
We
could have
would have
been so
professionals in place.
different. I
So,
think about that every night. It could have been so different.
so what we are going to do in the next 3.5 years, waiting for Trump to get out of the office? Should we stop completely trading and just wait on the sidelines, or we should do some trading and just I don't do any changes in my core portfolio because it's a dividend collecting situation, and actually all the stocks are actually doing
Sasha,
quite
what are the risks, Sasha? This is what I do. I'm going to ask you to tell me what the risks are. I write covered calls on SPY first thing in the morning, expiry date at the end of the same day.
You see,
Uh,
here's you have actually two kind of risks. One that Trump will say something fantastic about 500% tariffs or so on, and S&P will drop 5% in one day. And I don't care how much premium you're getting for your calls, you
hold
will
on,
be wiped down, and then you'll
hold
say, and then okay, so then you will buy more S&P. It's in blackjack there is so-called martingale strategy. Okay, so you start a hand, say you put $5. Okay, you lose, you put $10. Wonderful. You lose, you put $20. You put 40, 80, 160, 320, 640, until you win. And when you win, you collect your original $5
Yeah.
while risking thousands of dollars. And there were several cases. Okay, I'll tell you myself, I had experience in Aruba many years ago in Marriott Casino. I lost 30 hands in a row by
Wow.
playing perfect game. I kept basic strategy. I didn't double even once. I was putting $25, 25, 25, losing 25, 25, 25. 30 hands in a row I have lost.
It's
So
statistically improbable, but if you play enough, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
sometimes, yes, it will happen. But you know what? I made it all up in next half an hour because I was playing this progressive strategy 1, 3, 2, 6, and I had the 3, 4 hands, and I was actually already on top of casino very
Oh,
easily. But again, you can't do that in stocks, Milan, because the stocks not only going down, they may stay down for 25 years.
no,
You
no,
know that just as well.
you're talking about stocks. I'm talking about the U.S. market as a whole
Same
has
thing.
no, no,
Same
hang on.
thing. S&P 500 is 500 stocks. If something can happen to one stock, something can happen to 500 stocks. I see no
Hang on.
difference.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay,
It
sure.
is true. It is true that very often the drop in the market exceeds the premium income that I get by writing cover calls.
Substantially
But,
so.
but I can ignore that, knowing that it will recover, and the
But
premium
there is
income
no
is always
guarantee. Is Donald Trump in power? There is no such thing as guaranteed recovery. Leland, get real. I mean, Donald Trump is for real. It's not something that ever happened in history of United States. This is a unique event. You cannot act as okay, it's normal now. Okay, it's dropped down, then it will recover.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Donald Trump, it's a different situation. It has to be treated differently. You cannot do what you do normally with Donald Powers in command. Actually, he's playing the market. He's doing illegal things. Like in the morning, he said it's time to buy stocks, and then he lowers tariffs the same day or so on. This is a bizarre situation.
But I
I
wonder how many people are like me who are paralyzed because of the
Yeah.
uncertainty that Trump provides.
It is
Markets
across
don't
the
like uncertainty. So
You're in a majority because I see a lot of people protesting in a lot of the major streets, James, and it's very scary. There's 35,000 people marching that
yeah,
want Elon out and Trump out. And
right.
I think that the uprising is going to really be his fall. But, right now he's in power. So you're right. What do you do with investments? I'm staying out. I'm thinking that maybe gold might be the answer. It seems to be
Yes.
going up, but there's a risk there too that it may not be as sorry.
Okay, I had a substantial gold position. I liquidated it yesterday. I'm waiting now for gold to settle down, maybe around 3,000 per ounce. Maybe it's 3,050. But actually, yeah, I would get started accumulate gold. Maybe it will go down to
Yeah.
3,050. I think I will start. Silver, I hold still because silver has some qualities of
How's
kind
that
of
been doing, Sasha? Is that a
what?
good investment? Silver, is it a good
Yeah,
investment? Yeah.
yeah, yes. Silver got.
He's been bringing it up on our show quite regularly, and I've been thinking to myself that I just um, can't get unstuck. I think, and make
Yeah.
moves that makes sense, even into precious metals, rare earth elements, those types of things. They can make sense to me logically, but logic has gone out the window as far as I can see.
Yeah.
I can't apply rational analysis to anything.
I
It's-
did a lot of transactions in last few days on Palantir. I've started getting some shares. I've sold. I had also call. I even bought calls on Palantir.
Oh
I thought you
God, I
sold
hope
it.
they don't bring back coal.
Yeah, I sold them, and now I bought a few hundred
Can you
shares.
imagine the guy's trying to bring back coal?
Yeah,
Well, I know.
well, it's fun because market like today it may go farther, maybe even tomorrow, but I don't think this is a sucker's rally for sure.
Yeah.
It will not go very far. I mean, maybe another day, maximum 2 days, and it will reverse and will go down, and it will go lower than it was
Yes,
there before.
I think
That's
so
that's
too.
the biggest problem of that all. So okay, so I'm exposed to Palantir. Okay, this time I sold covered calls. So there is a certain cushion. I bought Palantir
You,
at
you're
100.
hedging your bets.
Yeah, I bought Palantir a few hundred shares at 100.5, and I sold, believe it or not, 105 covered calls expiring May 2nd. And believe it or not, there was still a huge premium on these calls. So I'm happy because
Yeah,
I collected, I think, $4 on each call. So
yeah,
if
that's
it will
modern
get,
investing.
Yeah.
that's a modern investing. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what we have to do to survive. And the most important things, don't panic. If you have panic, it's very bad. Just sell
Yeah.
everything and just
Yeah,
get.
yeah. Don't do that. Right.
So if you are there for a long haul, just watch your position, get more exposure to silver, maybe in a few days gold as well.
Mhm.
But right now, gold, I think it should correct itself a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's now what about 3,400 an ounce? It will go to 33,000, maybe 3050, and that time jump in on gold. I think GDX or GDL, you can buy either one of those ETFs, and so you don't have to worry about physical gold possession.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
You're
course.
safe. And as stocks are concerned, yeah, it's better probably not to have anything or to have very limited exposure. Even I recommend to buy naked calls and naked puts because so you will lose a few $100 here and there. It's not a big deal,
Yeah.
and, but you have a chance, you have a fighting chance. But
The
don't
market,
hold it for a long time. Hold it for a maximum 2 days. If in two
Yeah.
days market doesn't move in your direction, just liquidate position. But
the
if you
market,
buy both puts and calls, then at least one position you will be right on.
That's right. Yeah. That's very good. That's interesting. Yeah.
the
The
market,
risk is a little lower if you're doing both at the same time, right?
Well, your worst case scenario, if stocks will
Nothing.
still do
Yeah.
nothing and you will lose most position. That's very seldom happening, especially when Donald Trump is in power.
Yeah.
the market is hugely overpriced. The price earnings ratio of
Nobody
the
knows anymore what is overpriced or underpriced. All these mechanics are out. It's a new game. It's a new rules, and all this what you learn something from
Total
Warren Buffett.
chaos.
It's a chaotic market, and
I think the old strategies, looking at PE ratios, they just don't apply in the modern. It was a good balance, a good measure in the manufacturing age, which Trump is trying to bring back, which is another crazy notion. But we're not in a manufacturing age right now.
no, 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 no. Americans have two left hands. Nobody wants to work, as they want to get paid $45 an hour by doing nothing. It's a not manufacturing country and will never be. The only hope was if there are just more and more immigrants would move from Latin America, from wherever, that they are ready to work for $7.50 an hour. That's a different story. So you can train them and you can teach them something to do for $7.50 an hour, even
Yeah,
$10 an hour.
now Trump is anti-immigrant, and he's also putting tariffs on this, so you can't. Although you're not manufacturing, you can't buy. You can't buy the parts you need, to make your automobile. It's just I can't double down on how insane the policies are, because they're just totally um, uh, illogical, and they're almost like you earlier. You said it's my instinct. It's I've been thinking of it as he's whim based. He
Yeah.
gets this idea, and then it's the greatest idea since sliced bread, and he's going to go with it, and the whole world will admire him. And it's
people who are involved, people who are involved in manufacturing hate their jobs.
Yes,
They love Fridays, they hate Mondays, and we should get out of manufacturing and get into innovation. People who are involved in innovation love what they're doing. They're at it 24/7, and we should be doing that and let countries like China do the manufacturing. Even the Chinese don't like manufacturing anymore, and they're exporting it to Vietnam and I don't know where else. But
correct.
getting out of here in Collingwood, and Sasha knows that because he lives close to Collingwood. His daughter was a place here. We had a shipyard that was the main employer, and then the shipyard closed because South Korea was making ships for a lot less than Canada was. And what are we going to do with all these people? Well, there's fish in the waters now. There wasn't before when the shipyard was operating. We have beavers here that weren't here when the shipyard was operating. We can see an island that's about 20 miles away, which was invisible when the shipyard was operating. We are all better off now than we were when we had manufacturing here in Collingwood.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you would have more chess tournaments in Collingwood, it would be even better, and nobody would ever need a shipyard. If you can play enough chess, I guess.
So we're gonna have 5 or 6.
Sorry?
Well, what was that, Mark?
Mark's connection is unstable.
This big chess tournament in Collingwood, and by many people's standards, it's, if not the best, it's one of the best tournaments ever in Canada.
Oh, thank
It
you,
is.
Sasha.
By organizing, by site selection, by many virtues. It's really just incredible tournament. I'll tell you, I played in last 60 some years. I played in many tournaments in many countries.
Thank you.
It's a really fantastic tournament. And
We try to make it enjoyable for everybody because it just.
thank you so much, boss Roger, to you and Milan.
Thank you.
Roger does all the work I do. I take all the credit.
No, I don't do all the work, but I just, it's funny. I really am involved in chess, but I don't play chess, which is really crazy. I should learn how to play.
I know
it.
so many people like that.
Yeah.
A lot of them become tournament directors because they don't like to play.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
But they like to boss around the players.
I like that idea. Thank you, James. I boss around one player, so.
Yeah.
I'd like to
He
mention
seems to be okay with it.
that tournaments in Collingwood are run by Hal Bond, who was just day before yesterday. He was inducted in Canadian Chess Hall of Fame.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
That's a great achievement for
We
Hal.
should mention that maybe at the
Well,
tournament, Milan.
Absolutely.
Of course,
Yeah.
Nava's been in Chess Hall of Fame for the last 24 years.
Oh,
When she was, I think, in one of the first inductees in.
Wow.
Yeah, because of all the
Anyway,
women's championships she won. Yeah.
she won
Yeah.
eight championships. Yeah.
She's
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Hall of
Totally
Fame worthy.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing that she still can play chess on a certain level. It's
Oh.
really actually last year she was clear second in Collingwood.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's amazing. And did you come in second too? Were you in second?
I was third.
Oh,
I
third.
lost my last round game. I wanted to go for 100% result and
Oh.
took a little bit more risk than I should have. And
Yeah.
if I would draw my game, then it would be three-way tie for
Oh,
first.
I see. Okay.
I lost it
Well,
anyway.
that's good.
No regrets. No regrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Aren't now men and women playing in the same tournament, which is quite recent? Used to be men only, women only, but now they all play in the same
Oh,
tournament.
open tournaments mostly they all play together, and
Yeah. That's been my experience since the 70s.
yeah, that's it's quite unclear if it should be separate women's tournament or not. It's
We're
Yeah.
talking about the championships, though. In the United States, we do have separate tournaments.
yes,
We
yes,
have an open, which women can play in.
yeah,
And typically it's all male, and we have a women's tournament.
yeah.
And I just recently got a women's senior tournament okayed.
Okay,
We
Oh,
now have that.
fantastic.
That's and that has it's going to be. I hope I'm not talking out of turn, but that I'm pretty sure that St. Louis is going to pick it up, and so St. Louis is the closest thing you have to a guaranteed. Something will continue to go on.
Wow.
When is it, Jane?
they have fantastic facilities in St. Louis. That's true.
So
Mm.
let us give our viewers something to take home out of this presentation that we're doing now. And are we concluding that the best investment today is silver? The safest and the best investment is silver.
Well, I'm not on board with that, but I understand the reasoning.
Well, by the way, you know what can move slightly higher from this level? Believe it or not, it's a Bitcoin. I'm not a big fan of Bitcoin, but I'm watching the charts, and from charts, it's quite obvious that it can move potentially to 95, probably more likely even $100,000.
Trump has got some interest in it, and I don't know what, but if he profits by it, it will do well.
Yeah.
But the thing is Musk got his hands in there, and if he does, then that's going to be the driving force. But I don't know if he does or does not, and I think he knows how this stuff works. Trump doesn't.
Probably Musk is going to be very busy with Tesla, because this is something for him, in my opinion, much more important than Bitcoin or anything else, because Bitcoin will go up and down. But Tesla, if he will lose a major investment in Tesla is on its way, from what I see in charts, it will move under $200 and fairly soon.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. The next move is to under 200. Maybe at that time it will become kind of a buyer's market idea, but I wouldn't touch Tesla personally.
So Milan, I didn't sell too soon.
No.
I've been saying I sold too soon for a long time, and now I sold it.
When did you sell? Did you have a Tesla? James, did you have a Tesla?
Yeah, I do have a Tesla, and I bought Tesla stock. I like the story. I like the technology, and at the time I liked Musk, and it was one of those things, but it just fluctuated too dramatically for my taste.
Right.
And it would go up and down, up and down, up and down. So one time it went up, and I sold, and I just I more than doubled my money. I was happy, and then of course it doubled again, and it continued to go up, and I bought them for my niece, and I sold hers as well. And her father was asking me, "Did you sell that Tesla stock when it was at its height?" And I said, "Yeah."
Well, that's good. You make money. That's good.
Yeah. And Milan was the one who told me that he made his money by selling too soon. Who was that?
Yeah. That was.
I put you on the spot. I'm sorry. Yeah. But in any case,
I'll tell you that next week.
Somebody once said that he made his money by selling too soon.
Yeah. A renowned and a very wealthy family.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you that I still have holdings of NVIDIA with
I do too.
covered calls sold. I still have, although I diminished my position, NVDY, which is today announced dividend of 67, about almost 68 cents a share. So it's usually pays more, but because media shares were down for
Right.
most of the last few weeks, so even this dividend is okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The dividend is good for the price that it's at right now.
Yes,
Um,
true.
and so I still own some of that now, but there's small amounts. But I
But
have
Jim, watch tomorrow. Watch tomorrow because today is the last day, and tomorrow it's a cutoff day, and tomorrow I'm expecting NVDY to drop by either the same amount what they paid.
because people bought it to get the dividend.
Yeah, yeah. So there will be selling, and also don't forget this is how it's in 4 weeks they are accumulating cash from selling covered calls, and then by Friday it's a payday. So all cash what they accumulated will go out. So by Friday the company will have no cash position whatsoever. They will still have all this holdings what they have, some treasury bills and some others, but no cash.
Yeah,
So
that's
from that point, the stock will drop. Be prepared for that. And then in next 2 3 weeks, it will slowly start climbing
right,
up.
right.
And
That's
then
a pattern you can predict.
it's a certain pattern, and the only way to mitigate that would be, for example, on day like today, to sell covered calls.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But there is no market for it. They're highly illiquid. There is a huge spread, so you
Yeah,
cannot
yeah.
do it.
I see.
Okay, so you might another strategy is forget about dividends and
That
just
would be too easy money. Too the easy money, but so
that
they
would
won't
be
let
easy
you do
money.
it.
I did it a couple of times. It
Yeah.
worked because I used to have 10,000 shares.
Uh,
Today I have only 6,000
yeah.
shares. So through selling covered calls, I was able to decrease my position there. But today, actually, I'm still playing with the idea to sell it at today's price. Forget about dividends because market will drop by the same amount tomorrow. But what's happened if it will not? And I
Yeah.
will regret that I lost dividends and I lost all my position and so on. It's tough call. It's tough call. I don't know what to do. Milan.
Oh, we can't hear you again.
Okay, but he can see me, I'm sure.
Yeah, he can see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He knows we can't hear him.
Okay, okay. Well, in this case, I think we've discussed everything, and hopefully we'll have a good trading.
Well, Wednesday has been good to us, Sasha.
Usually, yes. Wednesday. Actually, I wish there would be only Wednesdays in a week. Forget about
This is why
Sunday.
Wednesday is the show. I believe that he
Wednesday
picked this.
should be Wednesdays only.
Yeah,
No other days.
the stock market should only be open Wednesday.
Yeah, there's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, have a great trading, and I will see all of you next week, same place, same
Thanks,
time.
guys. It's been very
Rosie,
interesting.
see you
Thank
Nice
next
to
you.
meet you, Rosie. Hope
Bye
you
bye,
come back.
everybody.
Ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tom.